This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Jeff Gardner.
Welcome to another episode of the Good Neighbor Podcast. Today we have another good neighbor on, Aiden Brown of Sparks Electrical Contracting. Aiden, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, Jeff. It's good to be on here. I'm super excited about this, and I've heard a lot about you guys, so this is exciting.
Beautiful, man. We love to hear that. We are a marketing company, so if people are hearing about us, that's a good thing. If they're not hearing about us, not a good thing. So I'm glad to hear that you've heard about us. We've heard about you as well. I've seen you on social media, and you've been nominated a few times now. The audience may not know this, but this is something that we pride ourselves on. It goes to the core of our marketing philosophy, is give the audience what they want. So we don't choose any of the guests that come on the show. We choose the ones that have been nominated, as not all businesses that are nominated by our audience fit the mold, but all of the businesses that have come on this show have been recommended either from our audience or our past guests. So we aren't going out there saying, you should come on, you should come on, you should come on. Every guest that comes on the show, that means a listener of some form says, I want to hear his or her story, which is pretty cool. And you've been nominated a bunch of times. So people want to hear your story. Let's talk about it, man. What is it that you do?
So my company is Sparks Electrical Contracting. Obviously, we're an electrician company. We're based out of Barrie. We service Simcoe County, Muskoka, tiny township. We do travel to the GTA. We're not afraid to travel. Obviously, we got to be competitive on when we do travel. We do residential, commercial, industrial. So we'll look after, just changing a simple light fixture to a full-blown industrial developments.
Really? So full-blown industrial development, all kinds of different listeners are on this, will be listening to this. So a lot of them will be entrepreneurs. The majority of them will be homeowners in Simcoe County, affluent homeowners, but you will have commercial business owners on here. You will have residential homeowners on here. So for me, because if I'm asking this question, other people are going to have this question as well, I imagine. When you say a full-blown industrial development, what does that mean?
So basically a base building for an industrial plant. So, usually you get like a developer. So they'll want to build a factory, and they'll build the building out and build it ready for a tenant. So we'll come in and we'll apply power to it, get the building ready for a tenant, lights, exit signs, all that life safety kind of stuff. And then we'll even fit out the factories. So whatever the requirements of the tenants are, we can take care of that.
Beautiful, man. And would you say, I'm always curious about this because I love business. We eat and breathe it every day. Every person we talk to is a business owner. One of the privileges of being a marketing company in B2B, we learned so much about business along the way. And we've been doing this for a long time. It's a lot of conversation with business owners. We've learned a lot. One of the questions that has been beneficial for us to figure out is it's not always so certain, and other business owners as well, is that bread and butter product, bread and butter service. What's our main thing? Or what is the main thing that we want to do? So do you have a main thing? I would guess residential, but maybe not.
Yeah, so it seems to be like a lot of our calls are residential. There's a lot more homeowners out there than commercial tenants. But like my bread and butter is definitely commercial, industrial is where I came from. But with the business, the bread and butter seems to be the residential clients. So a lot of service upgrades. So 100 amp to 200 amps, you got to support those car chargers, hot tubs, stuff like that. There's a ton of new power requirements for homes. People keep wanting new stuff. So we got to make that work for them, right?
It's cool, new world. I mean, we've had a bunch of electricians on the show. I shouldn't say a bunch, a few, but we have a number of electrician clients across our territory that we've been working with for a while. And just what you said a moment ago, I don't know why it resonates so much with me. I love evolution. I love seeing where humans were to humans are. We are in the business of helping businesses grow. So transformation, it's just something that pleases the mind for us a lot. Seeing a business start here, $500,000 in rev a year, go to $5 million in rev over whatever it is, 5-6 year period. But hearing that you say there's new power requirements and one of them is a car charger, I don't know, it's a hot tub. It's like, okay, they've been around forever, but it's a very cool thing that there's now a need for an electrician to come in and put a car charger there because there's an electric car in the driveway. That may not stand out to you, but I don't know. I just think that's a very cool thing.
Yeah.
And it's producing more business and new types of business, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. There's lots going in. So people are big fans of Teslas, and all the other automakers are coming out with them. So there's all different sorts of the car chargers. So it's cool to see that industry kind of develop and the new systems they come out with. It's a pretty neat industry.
Yeah. And so did you say your background was in industrial and commercial prior to owning this business?
Yeah, mainly. Like I did touch residential quite a bit, but large scale commercial industrial developments was my bread and butter. We did a lot of Home Depot kind of service, factory fit outs, you name it, we did it. Solar, lots of solar too.
And how is this? That's interesting. That was not something I would have brought up had you not just planted that seed. How is the solar on the residential side? Is that a thing?
It's kind of died out. This government, don't want to get too much into politics, I guess.
Sure. But the grants, right?
The grants aren't there, right? Not like they used to be. So it's a kind of a dying industry right now. But I'm actually starting to see a bit of resurgence with backup batteries. So people are kind of, rather than going with a backup generator, you can get a battery system for your home that backs your home up, and solar complements that battery really nicely.
Awesome. That's a huge point. And then that leads me to another question I wasn't going to ask, but that's why we have this show, right? Pick the brain of the guests that come on. Let's learn something from you. I've learned a lot from some of the electricians we work with about smart homes, and that seems, so they say, to be picking up a little bit. There's more interest around smart homes. Would you say that's true? And does that require more power? And that makes me think of like that backup battery. If I have a smart home and the whole thing's running on electricity, I guess the whole home's running on electricity anyways, outside of a little bit of gas. But is smart homes, that's the question. Is that becoming more of a thing from your perspective?
Yeah, you're definitely seeing a lot more smart home kind of gadgets going in, especially some people get smart homes and they don't even really mean to, because there's such good options out there where it's much more cost effective to put, like there's wireless switches. It's much more cost effective than to cut some drywall and run a wire through your ceiling than just to put a wireless remote on the other side of the room, right? If you want to switch a light on from both sides. But it's definitely being like, it started with the high level kind of clients, but now it's really everybody wants something. They want to be able to lie down in bed and turn their lights off from their phone. I forgot to turn the light switch off. Here, get my phone, turn it off. There you go. Right. So people really like the idea of it, and even with just like basic outdoor lights with timers on it, rather than having the old school push button timer on your wall, you can just control it from your phone. Right.
Yeah. So I think just the development of technology in general is a very cool thing. Again, what I was alluding to a few minutes ago, seeing where we once were to where we are now is a very cool, it's just a cool thing to see how far we've come in many cases. A lot of these products are created around convenience, making our life faster or more convenient, sometimes allowing us to be much lazier.
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes. If you put a beer fridge inside my couch, now I literally don't need to get up to even grab a beer, and I can press a few buttons on my phone and get the food delivered. In 5 years from now, there will probably be a robot feeding me. Hopefully I don't buy one of those and still stay in shape. But these smart homes, last question about it. I think I've been told, but it's not just about convenience. Some of it is about efficiency, like those timers, lights turning on and off at a certain time, setting the climate of your AC and furnace to be on at certain times and cool and heat at certain times. Is there a part of this smart home evolution that is making it more efficient for us as well, reducing costs and environment, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, actually, that brings me back to that battery system. So that is a really cool feature with efficiency. So these batteries, they're not only just to back up your home, you can also do what's called time of use. So you can charge the battery up during peak hours when electricity is expensive, and then use the battery for your everyday needs when you're on peak, right? So you're charging up off peak when power is cheap, using it when power is expensive. So you're really cutting your power bill down. It really helps the energy grid out because it flattens that power demand out for it. And so they're not having to bring on those extra power plants to kind of supplement that power.
What a smart thing. I'm so happy I asked that question. So in a perfect situation, I have a big ass battery somewhere outside my house, garage, basement, whatever, big ass battery. I got solar panels that charge that battery. And, in a perfect situation, that solar power could charge that battery and that battery could run my whole house. I imagine we're a little bit away from that. But at the very least, that solar panel could charge that battery. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, but could charge that battery. And I use the battery during all the peak hours and maybe then some, and only use the electrical grid and pay that electrical bill at the lowest cost times.
Yeah, well, you can charge the battery up from the grid. Right?
You don't even need the panels.
You don't need the panels. I'm finding people with panels is like during the summer when the sun's up, they'll actually get credits back from hydro. And then come winter time when, their panels are covered in snow and whatnot, they'll use those credits out. So their power bill is like almost next to nothing. So they never end up really paying a power bill. And then, in the winter, you got that battery. So now you can use that time of use system. So you're charging up from the grid. So it's super cool. Like it's definitely something coming. I think you're going to start seeing a lot more of it in people's homes. Maybe one day as common as like a AC or furnace, right?
The backup battery or the solar panels?
The backup battery.
Backup battery. So even without the solar, the backup battery is awesome. And the solar seems like, if you're getting credits and you're not paying for your electricity, everybody should have one. I imagine the benefit to the environment, the power grid, et cetera, et cetera. We don't because it's just so costly, right?
Exactly.
Solar panels are hugely expensive, are they not?
Yeah. So it's getting they're not crazy expensive, not as much as you think they are. Some people have this like, oh, it's so expensive, but especially like the batteries, the technology is getting better and better. Like we're just at the start of it, right? So it's getting cheaper and cheaper, and it's coming close to where the battery is going to be roughly around the same cost as a generator to install. They're not quite there yet, but it's coming. So as that technology advances and they get better at manufacturing it, we could definitely see batteries overtaking generators for sure.
So you're the first person that I've heard of this backup battery before, although it absolutely makes total sense. And I imagine they've been around for a little bit. If I say, hey, Aiden, we're doing a renovation. We need a little extra oomph in our electrical system because of X, Y, and Z. We want this battery. Can you source that battery for me? Like, can you? Okay. Yeah. So I can literally buy the battery through you and get you to install everything and warranty and service it and all that.
Yeah. So I'm actually licensed through a couple different battery manufacturers. And so I'm able to distribute their products and install them. And that comes right from the manufacturer.
Beautiful. Do you have to get this battery? Like, can you buy this battery at like Home Depot, Home Hardware, like a furnace or AC?
Not so much Home Depot and Home Hardware, but I know Costco sells them. I've actually had customers buy their own from Costco that I've installed. Mm-hmm. And then there is specialty stores that'll do it as well. They're mostly around the GTA. There's a couple in Barrie, but it's mostly like an online kind of thing. Like Tesla, they make the Powerwall. So that would be like an online purchase, right?
Okay. But then you'd still need somebody to install it. Yeah, it's not like I can install this battery, like plug it into a wall.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, I definitely recommend a professional installation on that.
Well, I imagine it's like the AC, like the furnace, like you said. No, that's awesome, man. That was not the way I was expecting to start this, but this is what we love about this is interesting information, education to enrich the lives of our audience in some way. And that I know will resonate with a number of people. It did for me because I love being efficient. I love saving money. And, I think one of the main reasons for the backup is in case something happens. That's why we have generators in many cases. So, no, that's awesome. I'm really glad you brought that up. Something that we're super interested about on this show, Aiden, is our human being species, right? I just find our species just fascinating. Hopefully so. We all are humans. We should be interested in it. But our potential, our ability to tell stories, why we did what we did, how we found ourselves there, these types of things I think are fascinating, and why we read books and why we watch movies and shows is we're interested in each other. But a rich story really keeps us engaged. And often a person's backstory can be very intriguing. So what brought you to this place? Like, you were already in the industry, it seems like, for some time. So you had probably quite a skill set. You could have kept going that way. What made you decide to open your own business? And then going back even further, what made you decide to get into the world of the electrical world?
Yeah, I guess I'll start from the beginning maybe, and then I'll work my way through. But I started in a co-op in high school. I needed a couple
Awesome.
extra
I just
credit.
love that starting point. Like, it's so
great.
cool.
Yeah, it's how I recommend anybody who's looking to get in a trade is a co-op in high school, because it's the hardest. Like, as a business owner, I know firsthand. You get those guys straight out of school and they don't know how to use a power tool. They're new to the industry, so that free experience where you're working with the company for 6 months and then they get to see you every day, they get to know you.
Mhm.
Now that's where it led to an opportunity with them for me to get an apprenticeship. And so I ended up doing my apprenticeship with them, got licensed with them, wrote my master's with them. And I got to a point where, I wanted to make something for myself. I want to build my own, I guess, lack of a better term, but empire, and
Yeah, man.
have something to be proud of.
Mhm.
And it's been amazing. It's been really good, and I've been really happy with the journey. It's not easy, but I love every minute of it.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. And how long ago so you did the co-op in high school. How long ago was that?
I guess it would have been 12 years ago. Over
So
12.
you're around 30 or so?
Yeah.
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 So what a thing that is. You go to school. I mean, if you were like me, I went to school. I wanted to be around my buddies. I wanted to be around girls. I wanted to be around parties, and I wanted to be around hockey. That's it.
Yeah.
I didn't care about what I was going to do when I was 30. I didn't care about accumulating wealth, really, other than what I needed for the weekend. I wasn't thinking careers, none of that. I just wanted to be around the cool and attractive people. I was just a regular teenage boy, right? Super selfish, super involved in my own life, thought the world revolved around me. I imagine most of us were there. But then you get to your shop class or something like that. And now there's an opportunity for me to be like, hey, you want to go co-op and be a plumber? I know you probably have no idea what you want to do out in the world, but why don't you give this a try? And if
Sure.
it doesn't stick, at least you tried it.
Yeah.
But what if it does? Now it's been 12 years for you, man. That
Yeah.
co-op was life-changing, I could say. I mean, I'm not you, so correct me if I'm wrong. But
It was the same thing.
yeah, I mean, if you're 30, it's almost been half of your life from a
Yeah.
co-op opportunity. Such a cool thing. And like, we take interns occasionally and to help just for the summer. For them, like, when I think about it, for them to be around a business owner for 3-4 months, learn how a business operates, those are phenomenal skills. If they want to become a business owner one day, they get a intimate look inside of it for a short period of time when they're really young to plant that seed. Or they say, I absolutely don't want to run my own business from this learning experience. But it's really cool that you took advantage of that, man.
Yeah. That's awesome. I recommend it to anybody for sure.
Take advantage, man.
Yeah.
I mean, take advantage of it.
Program
And then
works well.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. I mean, you're one of those success stories, so that's fantastic. That's exactly what co-op is made for. It's very cool. I think you're probably the first guest that came on that, maybe not the first one that's done that, but first one that shared that, because it definitely stood out to me. But what made you want to run your own thing, man? Like, is there more layers to peel back to that? Like, what made you decide?
Oh, there's a lot of layers.
Yeah. So give me a couple. This is my ship. I want to take it, succeed or fail. I want to be the one steering it to its destination.
I guess, like, my parents can attest to this. I've always been my own person, more of like a free spirit and kind of on my own wavelength. So, just working at a company, it was awesome. I can't talk good enough about the company I was with, but it just, it wasn't the fulfillment I was looking for in life, and I wanted something more, and I wanted to be able to serve people as best I could. And business actually seems to be more about serving people than anything. It's really turned into something like that. And for me, in my heart, that's kind of where it leads and where I come from.
Man.
Is serving. And it just, like, everything else comes second, and making sure the customers are happy and, everyone's taken care of. And then I guess, yeah, just running your own ship. It's just, there's nothing more fulfilling than being able to go at the end of the day and look back and just like, yeah, like I built this and, I'm proud of it. And, I can share that with my friends and family.
Yeah. Great answers, man. The serving part. You don't know how good it feels until you've helped change somebody's life in some way. I was just talking about this on the last episode. I love to read. I love to follow great leaders, whether they've been dead for 2,000 years, like Buddhist and Stoic philosophy, or they're new, modern today. I don't really care who you are, where you came from. If you got great advice and you lived a great life, you're not just telling me theory, but you're showing me proof of these great ideas through the development of your own life. That I'm good with. And that one right there, which keeps me honed in. It's Ralph Waldo Emerson, old philosopher, not around for a long time, but he talks about what success is, that all those lines back there about how he defines success. And right in the middle, it's about making somebody else's life better. He truly believes that if you're not doing that, you're missing out on one of the most enriching parts of life, is the serving of other people. And it was the first thing you said, that now owning my own business has really turned more into serving people, not just customer service. We say that word. A lot of people define it differently. That's like, this is what I have to do to make the customer happy. And that's fine. But when I think about, I'm in this business to serve people, that's my mission. That sounds very different than me than, our customer service department. But what was it for you that you decided, of course, we want to make money. We have to fuel our own ship to keep going. We need our own resources. But this doesn't sound like I wanted to become a billionaire. I want to be a gazillionaire. And even if you do, it's totally fine. What is it about serving people that has become so important for you?
I guess just like, it's maybe a bit of a selfish thing in a way, of a pride thing, making sure that, that guy's good. He looked after us, things like that kind of nature. But also it's just like the end, when people are happy, like I've had people at the end of the jobs where they've had tried other electricians, they just haven't worked out. They haven't really like fixed their need. And I come in and I've been able to take care of that need, and they've actually broken down in tears and like, just, we're so thankful. And, those moments are just like super special, and stuff like that just really keeps you going and keeps you motivated just to, keep making those special moments happen.
Yeah. I mean, it's a magical part of life. I was very lucky. When I was 19, I love fitness. I just really look at health, nutrition, and movement as like cornerstone for our human existence. Not just for me. I think it's a universal thing. If you move well and you eat well and you sleep well, you got an advantage on most, I would argue. But I wanted to get jacked and, again, attract women. I was young. I was 18. And I was really skinny. I was a hockey player, but I was, fast, but very skinny. So when I got hit, I felt it. I'm tall. And so that was an insecurity of mine. And I'm like, well, let's grow some muscle. That seems like what other people do. So I started going to the gym, and then I said, well, I've learned a few skills. Let's become a personal trainer. How cool would that be? Be around other jacked people, fitness people, girls, guys, whatever. And so that's why I went into becoming a personal trainer, 18, 19. And then I made my first client transformation, somebody that lost 80 pounds with me over a year and a half. And when you say you came in, there was a couple electricians, and then you did the job right to the point of them being in tears. You may not think of that when it comes to electrical. Electrical isn't like curing cancer, but it doesn't matter how it's perceived. It matters how much this has affected somebody's life. If somebody is trying to use their electricity and it's not working, and they're having a very stressful time in their life, and they've called one person and another person, it hasn't gone well, and you went in and you fixed it, you have now increased the quality of their life significantly. I was very lucky to experience the same thing as a personal trainer, helping a skinny guy become not skinny, helping a chubby guy or woman become not chubby. The way they respond to you, that's life-changing. And it was for me. And that's when service was first planted to me, is I got to stop thinking about myself so much and start thinking about how can I help rather than what can I take. And, I was surprised for a while how many people say that. I don't know. I guess I thought most of us were selfish, but then you have these conversations with people for years and years, and you find out, A lot of people are in it to serve other people, which is a very satisfying thing to hear you say that, and many others. I love it. I won't go too much off on a tangent, but I love that that's been your experience, that serving others just for the sake of serving others is a great feeling. It's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Definitely.
Big part of this show is the education point. We don't want to just come on here and tell people about our business and then let them know about who we are. Those are great factors. But while we're on here, it's like, let's teach them something that they can benefit from. Again, the whole purpose is let's try to increase the quality of one person's life. If you do that to one, you probably do it to many. So we talk about myths and misconceptions. I look at misconceptions as simply incorrect information that has been given to me, or information that has been given to me that I've misinterpreted. I use the seatbelt analogy. Prior to knowing what the benefit of a seatbelt is, you wouldn't have sold me on wearing a seatbelt, just like a helmet for a bike.
Sure.
But then somebody gets in an accident and the seatbelt saved them. And now they tell me, now I have the right information. The seatbelt is being used to stop this from happening. Okay, now I have the right information in my head. I will now wear a seatbelt. Whereas before, I didn't have the right information and wouldn't have, and maybe would have gotten a bad accident. Like, that's the extreme, but that's the way we like to look at it. So I know, from speaking from other electricians, there are myths and misconceptions out there for sure. Is there a couple that you could identify for us and clarify for the audience to be like, okay, now I can move towards hiring an electrician, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, so this is probably a big one. I'm sure you probably heard this one before. It kind of goes on back on my last point of people tried other electricians. Is people don't really know who's allowed to do electrical in their home. So the only people allowed to do electrical in your home is a licensed electrical contractor or the homeowner themselves. And it has to be permitted and inspected. So if someone's a licensed electrician, it doesn't necessarily mean they can do work in your home. Unless they're working under a licensed electrical contractor, they can't, because that electrical contractor will have WSIB insurances, registered with ESA, have a master electrician on hand, a number of things checked off in order to be able to work in your home. So it's something that people don't know. Oh, well, he's a licensed electrician. It's, well, was an electrical contractor, was he insured? You know, he burns your home down. Are you going to be covered?
So that's huge. So I didn't know that, even with all the conversations. And I thought I misheard you there, but I don't think I did. So I'm going to try to simplify this. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you're a licensed electrician, that is different than a licensed electrical contractor.
Yes.
Significantly so. One is insured. At the very least, the differences are one is insured and one isn't.
Yeah. And one's registered. So in Ontario, we have what's called the Electrical Safety Authority. And they are regulated by the government to govern and be the authority to electrical work done in Ontario. And so electrical contractor is registered with the Electrical Safety Authority. So they'll actually have a number that's registered with them. You can go on their website, look up that contractor, see if they're registered with them. That's like the big one. And then they're able to pull permits and inspections and all that with ESA.
Okay. So that's huge. So if I hire an electrical
contractor,
no, what was the other one? Electrical
electrician,
licensed electrician.
Yeah.
So I imagine they're available out there to just hire a licensed electrician, and I have him in my home. What are the potential downsides of the worst case scenario? Like if I hire this person and I do have a wall fire, an electrical wall fire, what happens?
You won't be insured. That's the most basic one. Your insurance or company, oh, who did this electrical work? Oh, it was him. He was a licensed electrician. Was he an electrical contractor? Was it inspected? Was it permitted? No, it wasn't. And they'll wipe their hands clean of it. And just
that's it.
Later.
Holy smokes, man. No, I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's why I like asking this. That's huge. Because, I mean, I know there's not houses burning down in everybody's world every day. There are houses burning down every day, but most of us probably don't hear about them because they're not in our little world. But my girlfriend, way back when I was 25, her father had MS. So he was in a wheelchair And, you know, it was just an innocent mistake. He put the toaster on top of the stove, plugged it in to put the toast in, and his shoulder hit the knob for the stove and started heating up. He went back to his room to watch the TV, and because of the medication and all that, like, he just falls asleep, forgot about the toast. The stove lit the toaster up, which went into the electrical cord into the wall, and the whole house was done. Like, we had to go in there, get them out, get the dogs out. They were displaced in a hotel for 3 months while they built half of the house. So those things do happen. Sure. And it made me think, like, I know that was a mistake, but if I hired a licensed electrician, so is that legal then?
So the licensed electrician is only allowed to work in your home under an electrical contractor.
Right.
So he can't come in there on your own, oh, well, this guy, he's only a certain amount an hour and he's a licensed electrician and he's going to take cash and he's going to do it for half the price, and something should raise some red flags there. But at that point, you're jeopardizing your whole home. You're jeopardizing a lot more than a few bucks, right?
Damn. Okay. So my next follow-up question is, are there people out there doing this?
Yeah, I see it. I actually had a customer who went to look out at a job yesterday, and this guy he was a scam artist. He had a website that said something electric. He had an ESA number, but it took me 30 seconds to get through it and find out that ESA number wasn't registered to any company. His company name wasn't registered to ESA, and he's going out doing work. As soon as I looked at his work, I'm like, yeah, this guy that doesn't know what he's doing. He wasn't even, probably an apprentice electrician. He's just some guy who picked up a pair of pliers and a screwdriver and said, yeah, I'm an electrician. So it's a lot of it out there. So it's hard because people really have to do their due diligence, and people,
that's the problem,
right?
I don't know what I'm looking at when it comes to electrical work. So then the next follow-up question is, now that we've identified this huge potential catastrophe that could happen to any of an audience member, anybody that listens to this, is the difference between a licensed electrician and electrical contractor. We need to have the electrical contractor to send in the licensed electrician. We need to have that. Now we're insured. They have all the licensing and permits and all that kind of stuff that they need to have. How can we tell which is which?
So it's that ESA, it's Electrical Safety Authority. They have a nice little resource on their website. It's a contractor lookup. So if you get a guy, let's say you're going to hire Sparks Electrical Contracting, you can ask me for my ESA number. What's your ESA number? And it's like 7015728, I believe is it. Don't quote me on that one, but it's on my website and everything.
Sure.
And you can go punch that in. Oh, Sparks Electrical Contracting popped up, or you type in Sparks Electrical Contracting. It lines up with that ESA number. So you can tell pretty quick, okay, this guy's legit. He's registered with the ESA. So, you can count that he has insurance. He's WSIB. They have a master electrician on hand. Can guarantee he's legit.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there you go, people. That was really an important piece. Licensed electrician compared to an electrical contractor. Just remember the one. Electrical contractor is what you're looking for. And if you're ever hesitant, go to the ESA website. Is that what it is? And type in their number, which you should have easy access to, like their website. And then you can find out if they're legit. That's what a potential consumer should do.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this will be my follow-up question. Can you even own an electrical business if you're just a licensed electrician? Like, can you legally sell those things to people, even though you wouldn't be insured, and a massive catastrophe could happen?
No.
Okay.
So that's
a full-blown scammer then. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in order, like, the process basically is like, when I want to start my own business, is my first step is to become a master electrician. Once you get your master's license, it's a big test that you got to do. You can apply to the Electrical Safety Authority for your contractor's license, and you have to meet the criteria of have a designated master electrician for the business, which was me myself. Liability insurance. I have $5 million liability insurance. and then WSIB, so Workplace Safety Insurance Board. So either me or my employees, if they actually fall or hurt themselves in your home, they're covered by WSIB. If they're not WSIB and they fall and hurt in your home, it goes on your insurance, your home insurance.
Damn. It's huge. I really appreciate that. That's huge. We hear about insurance a lot because we are in the high ticket service item business. Our clients are you, essentially, and our consumers, or our audience, is consumers of your business. So these conversations come up a lot about insurance and all different types of things. We have mortgage brokers, real estate agents, different type of contractors. But did not know that. And that's why you put it right in your business name.
Yeah.
I'm guessing contracting.
Sparks Electrical Contracting. Yeah.
Boom. Why Sparks? Just out of curiosity, outside of the obvious.
It's actually my buddies nicknamed me Sparks.
I knew it was something else. Yeah. It can't just be because Sparks Electrical.
Yeah, no,
that's your name.
It's pretty fitting. Like, my last name is Brown, right? So Brown Electric. I'm sure there's a million out there, and it just doesn't sound exciting, right? So a little play on words, and my nickname, it gave my buddies a good laugh when they saw it the first time.
Do they call you Sparks or Sparky? Because you look. Yeah, I was gonna say, did you play hockey?
Yeah.
You look like a hockey boy. I played hockey. We always put an E on the end or a Y on the end. It's Shawnee, Jeffy, Tommy, Sparky. Yeah. So that's cool. We'll now call you Sparky. Cool. All right, man. That was huge. That was really big. Let's get into you, my man. I mean, you already told us a little bit about hockey and a little bit about your business background, but what puts a smile on your face? It can't be business related, and you can't say I love my wife and my kids, and that's it. No, those are the restrictions.
Take everything out of my mouth. So
yeah, that's what everybody says to me. Oh, I love my kids. Yeah. There's got to be more to life. What do you do, man?
I'm a pretty active guy. Like,
you look fit. It's good, man. You live?
I'm always in the gym. Thanks, buddy. I'm always in the gym. I like summer, I'm mountain biking, up at the family's cottage. Just hanging out.
Where's that?
It's Balsam Lake.
Oh, beauty.
Yeah. So it's beautiful there. It's a lot of fun, and just some nice R&R, mental resets up there.
Oh yeah. You a nature guy?
Pretty big nature. That's like, I think the mountain biking comes in, and then like in the winter, I like to do a lot of snowmobiling. So it's a lot of just the boys out in the woods, just hanging out, and hunting too. I do a lot of hunting. So spend some time out in nature there. A lot of time in nature. Get to know the squirrels pretty good.
Oh yeah, those squirrels are awesome. They're my boys. Yeah. Little shits eating all my stuff, but they're all right. So I don't want to go off too much on a tangent because this is completely selfish of me. I'm interested in hunting. Do you use a rifle? Do you use a bow? I know very little about it, but I love the idea. I really hate the idea of hurting an animal, so that's probably why I haven't done it, because I fucking love animals. But I love the idea of being immersed in nature, being in tune with it, being out there, just me, the animals, no technology or no social media and internet and shit like that. But what do you use? Rifle, bow? How do you do it?
I do a bit of everything. So like springtime's turkey. So with turkeys, your shotgun, moose, deer in the fall. So your rifle there, and then deer season goes on late through Christmas out in the winters. But you can't use a rifle. You can only use a bow. Oh. So, you're not really planning to go out and get anything, but you're just out in the
experience,
woods, nature. You're walking through, you're checking tracks, seeing if you can find deer, anything fresh, and it's just, you're kind of back into your caveman, back into that kind of mindset, and just out in the woods and enjoying life.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the things that interests me so much. I focus on a lot of things to hone my mind. Look at the mind as a muscle. Just like we go to the gym, the only way to grow that muscle is you must progressively overload it. You must get it close to its potential, let it rest, and bring it close to its potential. Again, reset, repeat, etc. I look at the brain the same way. That's why I think cold plunges have really become popular over this last 5 or 10 years. Yeah, I don't know if you're into temperature exposure and all that. I love all these little hacks. I find what I really like, I test them all, and then I keep what I like. But I think there are some big benefits to things like cold exposure internally, physiologically. But I think the main thing is what you do to your mind, is staying in that very painful place and remaining calm and increasing your baseline for pain and tolerance, et cetera, et cetera. But the hunting part of it, yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some discomfort. It could be raining. It could be dark. It could be freezing in some of those seasons.
It's pretty cold.
Yeah, right.
So
there's
fall hunting, you're sitting for 8 hours in the same spot and it's cold out. So
yeah, so there you're testing the mind there. But especially when you said, even if you don't go out there expecting to get a deer with the bow, but you're looking for tracks and you're moving through the woods, like you are, I think, developing a number of beneficial things. One of them is focus.
sure.
You must be focused. Whereas when we're doing this all day, like just constantly, distracting and scrolling and things are coming at us, that short-term focus just melts away because we're constantly needing stimulation. Whereas to some people, sitting in a chair for 8 hours waiting for something is endlessly boring. But a lot of the guys that I follow, a lot of the books that I read are like, if you can tap into what is mundane and keep going, you have a massive edge on most people, because boredom is where most of us just collapse, fall apart. Can't be bored in this day and age. So I think that's very cool. Maybe we can continue that conversation one day, as you've actually been hunting, it seems like, and I've never. So maybe you can sell me on the idea around the herding of animals. A couple of my buddies have tried the culling of them, making sure the population isn't get overwhelmed, et cetera, et cetera. I'd love to pick your brain about that at some point.
You're not hurting animals, though. You're harvesting them. That's the way we like to put it.
I like that mindset.
Yeah. So you're harvesting your own food. It's like growing your own garden,
Which is huge for me, because if you're a gym guy, eventually nutrition is going to be a major component to what you do. I've been in the world of bodybuilding for a very long time, so nutrition is huge. Sure. You're always looking for cleaner, better, more efficient, more cost efficient, et cetera. Yeah. And farm to table, basically, right? Like exactly. Animal to my freezer. So huge desire for me on that part. So yeah, I think that's a switch right there, harvesting.
Yeah, it's a better way to put it.
Yeah, well, it helps me for sure. Yeah. Outside of that, let's talk about hard things, although some of those were hard things, but we talk about hardships, trials, tribulations. Every human has been through them. Most of us don't want to talk about them, though. And one of the reasons why we bring it up is I am an extension of the best leaders that I follow. At least I try to be, right? I see people that are doing well out there. I try to do what they do, see if it works well in my life. Keep it, don't keep it. But if I want to go somewhere, I try to find somebody that's already there and then find their map and follow it, essentially, So there are some great people, there's Andrew Huberman, Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn. People have been talking about this stuff for ages, about embracing their hardships. And I'm not just talking about getting in the cold water, working out, studying hard, having hard conversations. I'm talking about moving through tragedy, business failure, COVID hit people really hard, a lost relationship, passing, an illness, a major backstep in your own life. For me, I share it openly. I'm an addictions counselor on the weekend at a treatment facility. And I only got in that life because about 10 years ago, I busted both my legs, and that led to a dependency on painkillers. It was brutal, massive backstep for me for about 4 years. But one of the greatest gifts I've ever been given, I can say that with full honesty, because it forced me to choose between living a life of mediocrity and not changing, or learn new skills to get out of this rut. Mm-hmm. And when you're in a big rut and you learn those skills, you don't unlearn them. Once you get out of the rut, they're now with you. And sometimes you got to learn some real robust, badass skills to get out of a pretty deep rut. That was the case for me. And now that's led to helping other people move through their own addiction and dependency issues. Plus, it's helped me as a human, as a son, as a friend, as a business owner. For sure. Going kind of through when I describe to people like the depths of hell, you learn a lot of skills to get out of there, get back to heaven kind of things, my own little cheesy way of looking at it. But there's a lot of great people out there that are spreading this message of don't just celebrate and embrace your successes and be ashamed of your hardships. Both of them make you human. You can't have one without the other. Like you can't have the light without darkness kind of thing. But their point of view, and I agree, is if we stuff down these hardships, we don't share them, and we just go on social media and share a brand new boat, a brand new wife, husband, brand new baby, everything looks so perfect. polished to the point of even editing it. That means we're not looking at reality as it is. We are looking at an illusion of reality, something that we want it to be, but it isn't actually. And there's a lot of lost value in that, I believe. So they talk about the value of not only not stuffing down your hardships, but really looking at it, embracing it. What was this that actually happened? What could I have done to avoid this? What did I learn from this? So it's one of the most interesting things that I focus on in my life. I think the greatest growth comes from hard things. I think the best things in life come very hard earned. You want to be in great shape? That's a lifelong commitment. You want to have a great love life? Same thing. That'll be difficult. You want to be super wealthy? Not easy. None of these things are easy. And most of us don't have all of these boxes checked. And I think that's in part because humans tend to be hard adverse. We don't like hard things. That's why we call them hard. There's a discomfort that comes with it. So we love to ask the guests on the show, any trials and tribulations, personal or business, hardships that you're willing to share with us that you've been through that probably sucked in the moment. I mean, when we do these painful things, even if we choose to do them, they're still freaking painful. But when you look back in hindsight, you wouldn't remove that ingredient from the recipe that has become you, because it's led you to living and enjoying the life you do today.
Yeah, I actually have a really good example of that. Last year, I actually had a suicide that happened really close to me. It was a huge adversity for me. Getting over that, just with the loss and the questions around it and everything. But luckily I had some really good friends that kind of helped point me in the right direction. And, I was at that time, I was kind of slacking in the gym. And they kind of, helped bring me up. And, I got to give some credit to myself. I really kind of got back in the gym, was in there almost 7 days a week, grinding hard. I was working hard, really dumped a lot of that like emotions and energy into my business, into my personal health, and really making myself a better person, because you can see what, mental health can really do to somebody. And
Good and bad.
Yeah, definitely. And so making sure that I'm in my best mind frame and really dumping that energy into it. And that was huge growth for me and growth for my business. Things really changed around there, and I changed a lot for the better. And, it was definitely a tough time, but I'm proud of myself for what I was able to accomplish through it and where I am now, getting through all those trials and tribulations and, the questions around that loss. And yeah, it's not an easy thing to go through, but I definitely made the best of the situation I had.
I love it, man. I mean, first off, I think it takes a great deal of courage to say that to somebody you've never met before and know that this is going to be available online. I can see the discomfort in your face. I know those things are very difficult to talk about. They happen at the treatment facility all the time. Thankfully, I haven't had a suicide in my realm, like a personal friend or family, but I know that they have to be brutal. But one of the things that you said that really resonated with me is I poured that energy. I don't know how many people think of, there was a massive tragedy in my life. I am sad now. I'm blue now. I'm just mute, numb. Those are common responses to those things as a descriptive label. I haven't heard too many people say this is energy, which is true. That's what it is. It's just energy showing up in different ways. Energy can be excitement. Energy can be sadness. Energy can be crying. Energy can be anger. Energy can be joy. Those things are all energy. And I love how you put it. I took that energy, which was your choice. You could have poured that into binge watching Netflix for 8 hours a day, eating ice cream, drinking, whatever, distraction. And that would have given you the result we all can anticipate, probably not good.
Yeah.
Or you can pour it into something productive. The fact of the matter is that, a bomb went off in your life and it stored a great deal of energy, which I love that you put it that way. And you chose to do something very productive with it. And I never want to say I'm happy that these hard things happen to people, but I also don't want to say to them, I used to say when a death happened, I'm really sorry you're going through that. I'm really sorry your business failed. I'm sorry your relationship failed. And now I really don't know what to say, because I'm not going to say to them, I'm really happy that happened. You're going to grow a ton from this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that.
Tough
But it
one,
is, you can't do that. But it is like, it's tragic that happened to you, but it's amazing what you did with it. And that's the reason why we asked this question is, like, honestly, full blown, I don't know what you're going to say, although I have an assumption. Do you think you're better or worse for it? Do you think you became a better version of yourself because of this?
It's like, I don't know. It's a hard one to say, right? Because it's, it almost feels not right to say, but I 100% feel like a much better person. It was, a big wake up call, and it kind of really brings life into perspective. And, you see, like, you kind of sit there and you're like, you know what, like, it makes death real, and you see it firsthand. And it's like, you know what, I really want to make sure my life is worth something, but, almost build a legacy in a way, but make sure you did everything you want before you die. And like, the last thing you want to be on your deathbed is like, man, I really wish I tried to start that business. And I really wish I didn't quit, because that's all you're going to care about at the end of the day, not like the hard things that were happening at the time, the problems that were happening at the time, because majority of the problems you have aren't going to be a problem in a year from now. So just trying to find that inner energy to really push through what's going on and just see that big end goal, see that light at the end of the tunnel, I think is huge.
Do you golf?
No, I don't actually.
I was gonna say, man, I gotta take you out for a round of golf or something, because you're speaking my same language. Are you a reader?
Yeah.
Because you just there's a mental experiment called the deathbed conversation, which you just labeled for us. You just described that for us. What will be a priority to the man who's in his last moments? Not the amount of money he made. Was I of value? Did I get in the things that I wanted to do, or did I let fear stop me? Because when you're on your final moments, I imagine fear doesn't even exist anymore, except for fear of the whatever's coming next. But not talking to that girl because you're intimidated, not starting that business because of something, some what if, not doing that thing because of another what if. I imagine it all just washes away and you say, why didn't I do it?
Exactly.
Which is a phenomenal way to live. I have all my rules and reminders for life tattooed on the forearm, pointed at me so that I can see them. And the first one is the amount of minutes in a day, because I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow. There's 1,440 of those in a day. And the second one is remember you will die. And that's an order of priority. I don't think there's a greater motivating factor than death for me personally. The philosophies that I follow, Buddhist and Stoicism, are both rooted in you may be gone tomorrow. You've been given the greatest gift you'll ever be given, which is life in your body and your mind. Fuck you going to do with it?
Yeah.
Rather than waste it. So again, I think it takes a great deal of courage to share what you just did. It sucks that you went through that, and that's a tragedy. I'm sorry for it. But the result of it, I'm happy for. And I hope people really heard that. And then the philosophy that you went into on top of that, that's the gold of this podcast and the potential of these conversations is people can get wisdom like you just dropped, which I think was super important, is that deathbed conversation. The problems you have right now probably won't even be a problem in a year. I have another rule of mine. It's called the 10-10-10 rule. You ask yourself after a shitty situation has happened, how will you feel about this in 10 minutes? How will you feel about it in 10 weeks? How will you feel about it in 10 years? Mm-hmm. And if your answer to 10 weeks and 10 years is it won't even be on your radar, then it's probably not important. So don't freak out about it, kind of thing, like somebody driving by and cutting you off on the road. And now you just let 2 days ruin. So that was awesome for me, man. I believe the same things as you when it comes to that. I think that's what life's about. Doing it well while we're here, because we don't know how long we'll be, and not taking it for granted. And that really resonated with me. So yeah, that was awesome, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mic drop there, Aiden. You can just walk out of the room now. Let's wrap up with a couple of things, man. You're talking directly to your audience. You got 1,000 of them in the room, right? You're on the mic. They give you 45 to 60 seconds. What do you tell them? What's the thing you want your potential consumers that may buy from you tomorrow, that may buy from you 5 years, doesn't matter. What do you want to tell them? What's the main thing?
I guess like the number one thing with my business is we're business based on providing customers with value. There's costs like some companies that are going to provide you the best price. Like we're not by any means the most expensive guy around. We're definitely reasonable, but we
Not the
like
cheapest either.
Yeah, I provide like my goal is to provide the best value for the customer. So at the end of the day, you're gonna that guy checked all the boxes that I needed checked. You got exactly what you wanted. You got clean quality work. That's a big one. Like we offer really good quality work, and then it's done on time. We're reliable. We're gonna show up. We're gonna get stuff done when we say we're gonna get stuff done. So it just provides all around good value for the customer.
Awesome. Love it. It's a good pitch, man. And important. That's what we base our stuff on. It's value. And we teach business about raising prices. When businesses come in and they're like, where's your bottleneck? This is, people just think, not people, some people think of marketing or advertising as put your ad on a billboard, put your ad in the magazine, put your ad on Facebook. That's a part of it. But we teach people how to grow on top of those paid services. So we identify the constraints in the business, the bottleneck in the business. Where are things really getting bogged down? Mm-hmm. And sometimes the answer is we need to raise prices. If we can't get more customers because you're tapped out that way, then an option will be to raise price. Wow, that would be unethical. How do I raise prices? If you are better than you were 2 years ago, and you were selling something 2 years ago for $500, and you are better at that thing now, you provided more services, you're cleaner, you're faster, it's higher quality, you took a course, you now and your business have become more valuable, so you can raise those prices. So that's why I appreciate the word value so much, because we all use it. All of us want to say our stuff is valuable, and we focus on value. I think a lot of us define it in many different ways, because it has become a catchword. If you're not saying it's about value, then that business should probably be saying it. It's a really powerful word, but I really do think it comes down to that. Rather than what the market's selling it for, or this guy's selling it for, is like, how valuable am I as an individual, and what's the continuity like across my business? Is my whole business increasing in value? If they are, I can raise prices, make it more profitable, attract a different type of client. And I'm bringing that up simply because you said you weren't the most expensive, you weren't the cheapest, but you're based on value. I think that is the name of the game for the majority of us, is if my perceived value of the product is higher than the cost, it's a win. There we go. And if I get what I expected to get, as long as my expectations were set properly, which is another difficult thing. Expectations often get overloaded, but as long as I'm in that value metric, perception is higher than the cost, because at the end of the day, value is a perception. It's not a fact, right? We dictate price, we dictate value, the value of time, the value of efficiency. But I love that you said that you're kind of in the middle, but you will get clean quality service is there anything higher than a master electrician?
No,
So by a master
electrical engineer, but that's a whole different category.
Right. So Yoda of electrician,
yeah.
Right? You get the Yoda stamp. Sure. Awesome, man.
I'll take that one.
Yeah. I got 2 more questions for you. One is a secret question, which I think, based on the philosophy and the wisdom you just dropped on us 5 minutes ago, you're going to do well, but it's not part of the questionnaire, so you can't prepare for it. Before we do that, how can people get a hold of you, man? What's the best way to get in contact with you?
There's a lot of different ways. Like, we got a big online presence. So we're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. We got a nice website. So any of those avenues, if you want to shoot us a message, you can, or just give us a call. Because a lot of people, like, electrical is pretty intimidating. So I don't have a problem answering questions. If you call us, you're going to get me. I'm going to be the one that answers.
Goes directly to you?
Yeah. And I'll answer any questions you got, no matter how dumb you might think your question is. I'm not.
It's not dumb.
Yeah.
What's the number?
What's that?
What's the number to call?
705-333-9869.
Beautiful. Yeah, I like that. I think that's great. I mean, you're calling the owner of the company to get an answer. It's not too often that you can do that. And I like how you said, doesn't matter the question, just give us a call, because it's intimidating for me. And I'm around you guys a lot, but I know nothing about your world.
Yeah.
I don't know price. I don't know what I need. I don't know value. So I need a guide more than anything. I call them Sherpas. I don't know if you do anything with mountain climbing, but when it's a big mountain, you get a Sherpa, and that's somebody that carries your stuff for you and guides you like up Mount Everest. That's what a lot of us are looking for, and a lot of us are willing to pay for that. Is in these high ticket service items, it's like, I don't just want the product. I want to be taken through an experience, educate me, make me feel comfortable that what I'm getting is what I actually need, and more so make me feel comfortable that I'm being taken care of, because I'm putting my money, my hard-earned money, and my trust solely into you, because I am not going to take the time to learn this. So I have full faith in you. Make sure that it's earned, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And we have no problem guiding people along that way, whether we can help you or not. We can get out there, look at it. We give free estimates, so it doesn't hurt for me to come out and take a look at stuff,
Beautiful, man. So Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, seeing you guys on there. Love it. And then you have your website, which is it SEC or is it Sparks Electrical Contracting?
It's sparksec.ca. So
sparksec.ca.
Yeah.
Okay. And then on when I'm Google searching you, I can just search your whole business name, but what is your social handles?
Sparks Electrical Contracting.
Okay. For both Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice
So
and easy.
sparksec.ca for the website.
Yeah.
Everything else, you can just Google Aiden by Sparks Electrical Contracting. All of his stuff will come up. I've seen it. It's great. Okay. Last question for you, man.
Sure.
Again, like I said, I point these out because this is my prized possession. Those things back there are all of those plus a bunch more put here because I want to be a dope human or live as dope of a life as I can, essentially. Whether I'm a dope human or not is, the jury's still out on that. But I certainly enjoy my life. I say to people, I take it very seriously. I take life seriously because I want to enjoy it the most. So these are my reminders and rules to be here, do hard things, be a student, be a lighthouse for other people, all the things that I think are important. Anyways, one of them is impact. I'm going to short form this a little bit because sometimes I go off on a tangent. Essentially, I was taught by a mentor, purpose and impact, very similar things. Purpose is, your avenue through which you live your life, the reason you do it, and the impact is the result of that. Are you considering these things? Is what she asked me in my early 20s. No, I wasn't. What are they? Why are you planting these seeds? And she told me those reasons. But essentially it boiled down to this is you don't know if you're going to be here tomorrow. We were already talking about that. You have no idea how long you're going to be here. All you know is that you were stamped with an end date and you don't know when it's coming. So do the things that you want to do. Do the things that are important to you now. Don't wait. But the things that you want to do will have an impact. Consider what that impact will be. Essentially, you are born, you will die. What will the net result of that time be of Jeff? Did I make the world better? Did I make it worse? Was I indifferent and made no difference at all? I can't imagine that would be the case. I think we're all making a difference. But the main thing that she really got across to me was that everything I do or don't do will create a ripple effect, will help hurt somebody. And the other thing that she got across to me is the ripple effect will go way past our line of sight. You will affect way more people than you think. So do you want to help people? Do you want to harm people? Or are you going to be the guy that doesn't even consider it? That changed my life. I've never not considered it since then. And constantly the inception of this podcast was, how can we help more people? How can we help the small and medium businesses that, there's tragic statistics around their success in their first 5 to 10 years. How can we do that and help our own lives? How can we help our consumers? So that's what I want to do. And I just love picking the brains of other humans and simply asking them, Aiden, what do you want your impact to be?
That's a tough one.
I know, right? What a bastard I am for asking.
I always like my impact to be like as a likable person, I guess. I don't want to come across too strong on people, and I want to be that guy, they think they can lean on in a way. But it's being able to look after my family too, being able to take care of them, like, 'cause I'm a big family man, like family really comes first for me. And, watching them be, provided for, given shelter and all that stuff, being able to do that's huge for me. And that's one of the things I really like to make an impact on. I guess, I don't know. You're really making me think about myself. It's hard to talk about yourself.
I know, right? I know, but I think it's a great thing. And if that's the 2 points you want to make, I mean, those are amazing. You essentially said, I want to make sure my family's taken care of and be that kind of man, but also be an accountable and likable person to other people. And you certainly came off that way, all cheesiness aside. This has been a very pleasurable conversation. And you didn't just answer with one word answers and, yeah, we got a great electrical company and we solve electrical problems and I like hockey. No, man, you got into some depth and you shared some very difficult stories. And that, I say, character leaves clues. You can tell a lot about a person by the stories they're telling or not telling and the passion behind them. So, I mean, if you want to add to that, go ahead, but I think you nailed it.
Yeah, I think I'm good there.
You're good?
I don't want to think about myself too much.
Okay, man. Well, Aiden, honestly, it's been a pleasure, man. I love these types of conversations. And I got to tell you, after every meeting I have is either with a business owner or my team. And I have a lot more meetings with business owners than my team. So it's been over 10 years of talking to entrepreneurs. And now we've been recording them for the last 6 months or so and done over 300 episodes. That's a lot of conversations. And through that, we've gotten good at it, which is great. But to be bored you can imagine that happens, right? When you have so many of the same conversations, sometimes boredom kicks in. And I try to tell myself that if I can get through the board, I'll develop a new skill, which is great. But every once in a while, someone comes on, some conversation that you just super connect with because it's real stuff. And that's what we were saying before we talked in this episode. If we can talk about real stuff, it'll be a winner. And especially the middle of that conversation, I think you killed it, man. You've been a pleasure to speak to. I've seen your stuff online. I know it's good. I haven't been a consumer, but again, I think character and business leaves clues, and it seems like you're doing great work. And I look forward to having many more conversations with you, man. I think you got some good shit going on.
Thanks, man. And I really enjoyed the conversation with you. It's nice to talk to someone kind of on the same wavelength, right? And kind of got the same understandings. And it's been awesome to be a part of this show. I'm super excited and super happy I did it.
Awesome, man. Music to my ears. Well, it's almost 7. And I got people calling me to head up for dinner. So I'm going to let you be. And I do look forward to having more conversations with you, man. This has been great. Until then, have a great evening.
You too, man. We'll talk.
Thanks, Bill.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Midhurst. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpmidhurst.com. That's gnpmidhurst.com or call 705-413-3775.